Welcome, one and all, folks. How are we doing this evening? Welcome back, one and all. It has been way too long. Let's make sure you are getting one and all, folks. How are we doing? Oh, that's two fills for the price of one there, folks. How are we doing, all you beautiful, beautiful people out there? Folks, it is I, the returned king, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes the other podcast cower, your king of extreme, Phil K.O.E, folks. It has been too long. It has been too much of a great time since you have seen me, your king of extreme, back, folks. And I apologize to all of you beautiful people out there in the K.O.E Nation that have been, your life has been tumult and chaos without me, and you are now, you were lost but now found again. But folks, we got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. One of the reasons that I have come out of hiding despite all of my, folks, we could get into that later if you want to, but yeah, I've had some personal trials and tribulations that I've been working to overcome. And hey, I just have also wrapping up harvest and everything. I just have not had the time to really get into the podcasting as much as I'd like to. And I've been getting some invites into some panels. I really apologize to Danabo. I wasn't able to get back to you on the last panel. I do apologize. Like I said, personal trials and tribulations. And I think I'm invited onto a panel with Dr. Heemed Out. We'll see how that works out. I think my schedule on Sunday evening will be open for that. But if I make it on the Dr. Heemed Out show, that would be marvelous. But I will be making it on tomorrow night at Big Buck and Empire on YouTube. Check them out for the Thirsty Thursday show. It's just a fun time over there at Big Buck and Empire. But folks, also, if you're checking the little down here part, before we get into the election analysis, I started a TikTok. My friends basically all kind of just, I don't know, they all just kind of surrounded me and forced me and said, you will get a TikTok. So now I'm at K.O.E Nation on TikTok. I mean, come on, very on brand. Come on now. K.O.E Nation, my kingdom expands. I was made Lord of the Scottish Highland last year, and now I also have a bit of my sundry expands to TikTok. So, but yeah, folks, come on in. Don't worry. The water's fine. How are you beautiful people doing? But yes, K.O.E Nation now has expanded to the world of TikTok. I would have never thought in a million years, but yes. So the elections, I mean, that one wasn't even kind of close, was it? That one was fairly one-sided. Like, the Democrats had bad nights in New Jersey, for God's sakes. It was a interesting night. Now, Virginia can be looked at in a couple of different ways. You could make all this deep analysis as to who did what and what went wrong and why, or you could also consider the fact that in New Jersey, their elections have traditionally gone the opposite way of who is the incumbent of the president for 8 election cycles. Yeah, 8 times in a row, Virginia's gone the opposite way of who's sitting in the White House. And that goes back from, and you can track this, and I think it goes all the way back to Bush the Senior. But Bush the Senior, Clinton, Bush Jr., Obama, Trump, and now Biden. So maybe it doesn't track all the way back to Bush Senior, but I know it tracks back to the Clintons. And so that's one of those, maybe there's some grander narrative to be brought, or maybe it's just Virginia being Virginia. That's has yet to be seen, but boy, howdy, if I was a Democrat, I would not be happy about last night's results, because this means Virginia's in play, not only in 2022, but more importantly, 2024. And Virginia was an essential part of the blue wall. And like I said to shortly after the election was, we finally kind of knew what way it was going to go. I said, Trump has shown every Republican the way. Like, the path to the presidency is really not that hard electorally for Republicans going forward. Because they were thinking, oh my God, how will we ever overcome? We'll be never voted in nationally again because these big states are just way too big. And then Trump showed them, oh shit, no, you just got to peel off a few extra states, and boy, howdy, there we go. And so I got a couple of things. This one just amuses me. I'm going to pull up, it's a story from The Hill by Maureen Burslin, New Jersey State Senate President trailing Republican truck driver who spent $153 on campaign. I don't know why I love this story so much. It's just freaking hilarious. Okay, here's the story, and it's in New Jersey of all places where, I'm sorry, the Democrats should have it cinched up. Now, the Democrats should feel lucky that the midterms are not today. Terry McAuliffe doing the Babylon Bee had it perfect. The Babylon Bee had a great parody headline where Terry McAuliffe baffled that telling parents that their children are property of the state wasn't a winning strategy. Who would have thunk? So yeah, just in terms of branding and persuasion, Terry McAuliffe, D-. I'm sorry. It was not good. You were only preaching to the choir at one point. So that was unfortunate, but okay, we'll get to Virginia here in a second, but we're in New Jersey. Edward Durr, a Republican candidate for president of the New Jersey Senate, I didn't know it worked like that, is inching ahead of incumbent Stephen Sweeney, Democrat, as of Wednesday morning, according to NJ.com. Now, this story is about 7 hours old. This could have all changed. In 2017, Sweeney managed to win re-election against a powerful Republican challenger, Fran Greener. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. Together, the two sides spent more than $24 million in the race. The New Jersey Election Law Enforcement Commission reported that the election may have been, quote, the most expensive legislative race in U.S. history. Durr, in contrast, claimed that he spent just $153 on his campaign, NewJersey.com reported. Durr campaign focused on, quote, limiting government, reducing taxes, and fixing the state's roads, according to NewJersey.com. His platform didn't receive much attention this election season, however. His website initially led to many error codes, NewJersey.com reported, and NJ.com reported, and those outside South Jersey largely had not heard of him before Tuesday. Durr previously ran and lost a race for the state assembly in 2019. He has not once held elected office, according to NJ.com. He lived in New Jersey all his life and worked as a truck driver for the past 25 years. NJ.com reported that Durr has compared his campaign challenge to Sweeney to repairing his rusty, old, beat-down 1964 Mustang that sits in his front yard. Quote, what it requires now is something to show it a little TLC, end quote, Durr said. Durr built his campaign in a grassroots fashion, going door to door in his district, introducing himself to local voters, NJ.com reported. Sweeney, in contrast, has long been a fixture in Trenton. Durr put out a tweet showing himself campaigning with supporters in New Jersey. Quote, I joked with people and said, I'm going to shock the world. I'm going to beat this man, Durr said when speaking with NJ.com Wednesday. I was saying it, but really kind of joking, because what chance did a person like me really stand against this man? He's literally the second most powerful person in the state. And that's what I love about this story. And it gets to the vote count here. NJ.com. Oh, wait, hang on. Granddad Christmas. Yes. The king has returned. I take a break from the article for a moment. Yes, I have returned. Yes. Worry not, citizens. I am back. Like I said, harvest has been it's been quite. Yes. Your King of Extreme loves all of you too. Yes. But yeah, God bless Granddad Christmas. Great to see you. Yeah, harvest has been pretty rough, and I finally got through it, and I think I see a path for my life going forward, and we'll see what happens there, man. But great to see you, Granddad Christmas. We're just going over some interesting stuff that's been happening in New Jersey. NJ observed that a Sweeney loss, beyond changing the state's Senate's leadership, would also signal a large change in the relationship between the legislature and the New Jersey governor's office. I don't know if I truly am fearless or stupid, because who in their right mind would take on a person with that kind of power and clout, Durr said to NJ.com. But his power, his clout did not scare me. Durr described himself to NJ.com as a simple man who rides a Harley, walks his dog, loves the Philadelphia Eagles, and wants to bring everyday people back to state politics. The narrow margin between Durr and Sweeney comes as the race between Governor Phil Murphy D and Jack Ciattarelli R of New Jersey governor also inches along in a near stalemate. As of Wednesday afternoon, the race is too close to call, with about 90% of the votes in. On Tuesday night, Ciattarelli held a slight lead over Murphy, but as of Wednesday afternoon, the tables had turned just slightly, and Murphy held a slim edge in the votes. So there you go on that, and it's looking like this guy Durr is probably gonna win it. Oh, and we got Granddad Christmas. Farmers are the backbone of this country. Thank you for your service. Well, thank you. Thank you. God bless. And actually, here in a little bit, I'm going to play a harvest highlight. I actually got it finally all edited and all parodied up. I kind of gave a highlight the last time I was on. I gave a preview, but it wasn't done and I didn't have all the footage yet. But I just gave kind of a here's what I got so far, but I've got it all purdied up, and so I might get into that a little later. But God bless you too, Granddad Christmas. And oh boy. Now, so that's enough of that's from The Hill. This is another one, 8 takeaways from the 2021 election. Republican Greg Youngkin projected win in Virginia governor's race Tuesday erased any doubts Democrats' slim congressional majorities are in grave danger in next year's midterms. I'm just going to skip ahead to see. Okay. Virginia had trended blue, then Tuesday happened. That's one of the takeaways. Republicans can focus on economy and education. Voters may have moved on from COVID-19. That one we could spend all day debating that one alone. Making it all about Trump didn't work. That's for damn sure. New Jersey's tight race is a bad omen for Democrats. Yeah, I just said that a moment ago. Could Youngkin's name sounding like pumpkin have had an effect so close to Halloween? You know, I don't think it did, but at that point, if I'm running for governor, yeah, I'll take it. Sure. If that gets you one more vote that somebody thinks, oh, it rhymes with pumpkin, have at it. You got it. But yeah, let me just fire through these just real quick. What I think about these points here. Let me my tea to keep my singing voice in fetch. Virginia had trended blue, and then Tuesday happened. Yeah, Terry McAuliffe, he's got some baggage, and I think that was going to just last. The margins are so close. Yeah, if somebody's voting for you because your name rhymes with pumpkin. Yep. Okay. Pumpkin it is. Vote for me. Yeah. Politics is a weird game. Republicans can focus on economy and education. Yes. Republicans always poll well on economic issues when it comes to the economy or how they think the economy will be run. Republicans always do A+ on that. So we will see in the future. And education, yeah. Education is going to be a big one for education. Is a real big winning issue now because let's be frank, every Republican president, every Republican voter is now worried like, oh, good God, what in the hell are these schools pumping my kid's head with? Like, what, like people were complaining about Common Core math a few years ago. And you think that some of the things that some teachers want to teach is not going to be a little controversial. So yeah, it's classic. Like my father always said, in politics and in interpersonal relationships, Newtonian physics works. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So it's, of course. So looks like Republicans are really going to be pushing education into the midterms, and it will pay dividends. Democrats need to focus on healthcare, but they haven't really delivered anything on healthcare now, have they? They've got the House, the Senate, the presidency, and they haven't delivered anything on healthcare. And that's I think one of the main things that cost Trump in 2020 was like, I even joked with my friends on January 20th, about an hour after Biden had been sworn in. I go, I'm starting to think Trump might not release his healthcare plan. Yeah, I'm starting to get that feeling. Yeah. So that hurt him bad. And if the Democrats lose the midterms and 2024 because they didn't deliver on healthcare, you kind of have to call that a fair loss. Uh, I mean, tell me if you think I'm wrong. Voters may have moved on from COVID-19. I don't like, depends on how you want to define that. I don't think that's actually true. I think it's still kind of the way that it was reacted to is still in the back of many people's minds. But, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, we'll just step around that one. Making it all about Trump didn't work. I think that's pretty well been proven out at this point. Just saying it was all Trump and only talking about Trump. No, he's not on the ballot in 2021 and he's not on the ballot in 2022. If he's going to be on the ballot in 2024, that's a different issue entirely. Uh, boy, you wonder if he's going to again. He could. If he wanted the nomination, he could. It's a real interesting question to ask because there's also Ron DeSantis. I think Ron DeSantis has a fucking good shot of making it to be the president of the United States. He's got a better than average shot because he's one of the few governors that's viewed as actually, you can dispute whether you think it was, but the general view is, the general like zeitgeist, if you will, is he's seen as a governor that handled COVID well. And so that's going to reflect in 2024. Like, I don't think 3-4 years ago, even Ron DeSantis really thought he was presidential, like this fucking close to it, but here he stands. So he's going to be an interesting one. So will it be Trump versus DeSantis, or will the two of them find a way to match up? All right. The article continues. New Jersey's tight race is a bad omen for Democrats. Yes, I'm just going over the bulletin points, folks. Yeah, that really is not good that New Jersey, because let's be frank, the Northeast is supposed to be Democrat country. I mean, am I wrong? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong here. If I'm just painting with broad brush here, God knows I've done that once or twice. But that does kind of strike me as Democrat country. And in New Jersey, now granted, they did have Governor Chris Christie. Okay. But this guy that spent $200 and looks like he might win the thing, I fucking love that. That is fucking great. I hope we call Mr. Durr Senator Durr very shortly. That's just, God bless this man. I want just the best for him. No matter how this goes, that like, just when I hear about a guy like that, like, this Senate's a lot like my 64 Ford Mustang. Like, oh yes. Yes, God bless this man. God bless him. So that's New Jersey's supposed to be cinched up for the Democrats, and if they can't count on it, ooh. CNN says elections still work, and yes, this one we had 100% of election observers present in New Jersey, and that's a good thing. And you know what? If a credible accusation of any kind comes forward in any election, I would like it to be investigated to its fullest extent, to the ends of the fucking earth, because I want nothing but the most transparent and accountable elections that have as much integrity as possible. That's what we all want. We all want better election integrity. We all want better transparency. We all want better accountability. There's nobody that wants less of that. And so, yes, this one had 100% of all election observers present, and that's, yes, we need more of that. And I think Virginia may have set up a model for the rest of the nation to follow in that regard. They had 100% election observers present, and God bless it. Let's see. Another point from CNN Politics was voters rejected ambitious police reforms in Minneapolis. Was that the defund the police, or change. Like I'm not really as familiar with that one. To me, that seems like, let's be frank, that's not going to work. I mean, we all know that's like, like, I mean, we could be silly about it, but uh, there is a point where you do need just law enforcement. I live in Nebraska, the old West. There was always the sheriff with his tin. He'd always, that was always a necessity. Now, what reforms you want, I think that's really what more laws that we want. Like, I think there's a lot of people that want reforms in criminal justice, and that's perfectly valid. And to be frank, a long fucking time coming, to be frank. But we will see how that goes. But yeah, these particular ambitious police reforms, let's see. Voters in the city where George Floyd was murdered by a white police officer, setting off a worldwide protest movement against police, rejected a ballot measure that would have eventually replaced the Minneapolis Police Department with a city council run Department of Public Safety. Okay, I'm going to read that part again. The people of this city, Minneapolis, rejected a ballot measure that would have eventually replaced the Minneapolis Police Department with a city council run Department of Public Safety. I'm first of all, like, could you think of like a more Orwellian name? We are the Council of Public Safety. Like that. I am kind of and I would be actually disappointed if these Council of Public Safety didn't go around going, I am the law. Like, yeah, they kind of have to, don't they? Like, like, I'm sorry. That's why I had a little bit of a hard time reading through that, because it was one of those like, huh. So no, that was never going to work. So I'm sorry. Now, like, I'm sure there's like a lot of like really like hard right libertarians that are also kind of like hang back, like, no, hang on. Let's just hang back, guys. Let's just see how this plays out. Yeah. I mean, maybe this one's the one. Yeah. So when it came to that one, I felt like there was folks on the far left and the far right that were kind of watching that one, like, because the anarcho-capitalist libertarians are just like, maybe let's let them beta test this, guys. All right. Let's. Dang it, they didn't vote for it. So I kind of feel like that's how that one would have gone, one way or the other. Let's see. Another one. Okay, this is another one from CNN Politics. Takeaway from the race: there are mixed messages for Democrats in mayoral races as moderates triumph in New York, but progressives notch historic wins. Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about mayor's races, at that point, you're going to have a mixed bag, because this is a big country. Okay. We got a fucking hundreds of millions of people spread across a fuck ton of acres. So yeah, you're going to get and if you're going to look on the right end of things, I'm sure there's some mayor out there that, like, I'm sure, actually, forget left or right. I'm sure if you looked hard enough, you would find a mayor or city council member that believes in flat earth. I'm like, I'd bet a silver dollar on it. Excellent. So that's a couple of the takeaways. Let's see, is there any more takeaways? Nope, that was the last one from CNN on the elections. So, boy howdy, Dems. This is troubling to say the least. If you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, you have the path. You already know what you need to do. Education, economy, education, economy, education, economy. That you just keep pounding that one home. That's and the midterms, the House looks like it's pretty much going to the Republicans. That looks pretty much, I think Nancy Pelosi even knows that. I've been calling that pretty much since the end of the last election, that the next time around House is going Republican, and I'm not swayed from that. I said even like 2-3 months ago that if you claim to know which way the Senate's going to go, you are full of bluster. It could go either way. It's 50-50, coin flip. And the map is not particularly favorable to one party or another in 2022. But if the Republicans can really run on education and the economy, and the Democrats can't pass shit. They didn't deliver on healthcare. They didn't deliver on any infrastructure stuff that people actually want because they kept trying to push all of their far left sacred cows in there. And instead of actually getting something that would have actually been beneficial, like, yeah, like I remember one of the 3 trillion infrastructure bills, one of them, I don't know if it's the one we're currently working under, but one of them didn't even have money for roads and they were spending $3 trillion fucking dollars. I was like, oh, good Lord Almighty God. So we'll see how this all ends up. But I mean, can you imagine, dear Lord God, we're going to be looking in a couple, all right, 12, so November, December, January. So in about 14 months time, the Senate and the House is going to be under a Republican majority, if I had to guess. The House definitely, and the Senate more. Like, if you made me bet a silver dollar on it, I'd say the Senate's going Republican. Granddad Christmas, it will be a glorious time. Glory, yes. And I do plan on doing a K.O.E Nation live stream that night for following the election coverage when that does hit. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to see how much can the Democrats stop a Republican advance. Well, I mean, of course. And hopefully by that point, I'll be able to also live stream on TikTok, which you can find me now at K.O.E Nation on TikTok as well. So I'm on K.O.E Nation on YouTube, K.O.E Nation on Twitch, and K.O.E Nation on TikTok. Very on brand, folks. So yeah. And then I'm curious, any of you in the comments or any of you just watching, what are your thoughts? Who do you think are going to be the nominees for either side? Do you think Biden's going to run again in 2024? I mean, you can say what you will, but the man did seem to secure a vote or two. Okay, so I can see why folks on the Democrat side would want him. Do you think? Yeah, I mean, on the if Biden is still alive, I don't see why not. Excuse me. The one problem that I have with that is he has not been doing well lately. Like, I mean, just like from just watching him communicate, it's been very unfortunate. And like Scott Adams, a guy who I put a lot of stock into what he says, he had a pretty good one about like there's the rumor of Biden shitting his pants when he was in Rome. Now, if he actually did, he actually doesn't want to make fun of it because that's a medical issue. And we've all had, older relations and relatives and loved ones who have eventually become incontinent. It happens. But if it didn't happen, as a humorist, he kind of has to make fun of it. He sort of had, so he really hopes it actually didn't happen because it's now gone mimetic. And he says the best one was a picture of Biden and Harris and it goes shits and giggles. And I'm like, and he's like, damn it, how did I not think of that? And it is like when I saw it, I was jealous as shit. Like, oh, that's brilliant. Shits and giggles. Fuck. Like, damn it. That's okay. I gotta give that A+. I gotta give that 2 gold stars there. So if Biden is alive, yeah, I think he'll probably be the nominee, and Harris will just have to be because I thought Harris was going to be the actual candidate. And the first time I ever made an appearance on the Dog and Chicken show, like, God, I want to say almost 2 years ago now, Chicken was asking me, and I wanted to, I held it back because I was thinking I want to say Kamala Harris will be the president of the United States, but I didn't want to will that into existence. So I didn't say what I said. Kamala Harris will be the presidential nominee. So it's like, okay, I can deal with that. But if she does actually end up becoming the president of the United States, that's kind of one of those like, God, I don't know if I'll ever predict anything ever again. Like, good God. But In terms of the Republican side, it's pretty much Trump and DeSantis race to lose. There's nobody else. Like Ted Cruz isn't going to try again. Like, I mean, unless he's just a fucking masochist, unless his thing is just like, I'm Ted Cruz and I just like to be humiliated on national television. It's actually my sexual fetish. Like, I mean, if that's like, that would be why he ran. Otherwise, he's not going to run. Like, he knows, hang back, wait, because Trump is still just this bright, glowing star that you just can't overcome. So, I doubt that. I really doubt Ted Cruz runs. Rand Paul for much the same reason, because there's too much support overlap between Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, and Donald Trump. There's like, it just, from what I know of the American right, that's pretty in line. Now, I like Ted Cruz in small doses, like most Republicans. We've kind of got that ambivalent feeling to a lot of Republicans. And like, I'll be honest, I've made this joke to a lot of Republican buddies at card games, and it's like, this is, and yes, thank you, Granddad, because this is your average Republican's thoughts when it comes to somebody like Mitch McConnell. Okay, Mitch, just when I thought you couldn't sell us down the fucking river, compromise your conservative principles anymore, or just be any more of a backstabbing, no good ne'er-do-well, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself. Come here, buddy. Holy shit. You got Barrett on the fucking court. How did you fucking manage that, motherfucker? Yeah. So that's a lot of Republicans. They gotta have to have this ambivalence when it comes to folks like Mitch McConnell. It's like, we're not in love with them, but boy, when we need them. So, you know what? On that humorous note, I think it is time to shift. We're going to shift our gears just a little bit here, and I've got the harvest highlights of 2021. The full video, the beautiful production. It's here for you to view here on the K.O.E. Nation. All of you beautiful, beautiful people. Harvest highlights 2021.
Like using 10/100ths a day here, not just beginning dent, and you're a little beyond beginning dent. And one of the things we always like to do, put one off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's pretty good for just stepping in off the end and looking. That's going to have some good test weight to it. Definitely a nice dense long kernel. C-Tech 6433. August 15th, 2021. They're out doing these ground truth tours all over the United States, looking at the quality of the corn crop and rating it and not ground truthing it. The USDA and the market's taking into account. And so they're trying to figure out if there's a record crop out here or not. I don't know if it's superstition or if I've just been humbled enough, but a record crop isn't worth anything until it's in the bin. So that's why I haven't put any videos out. Mother Nature's just humbled me too many times. I don't want to even say anything about it, but it does look pretty good. I think we've even got it like too wet. I don't know that we could give it anything more. Get a foliar feed on it. All kinds of nutrients, micronutrients. I don't know what else we could put on it, really. And I think you should just draw and be efficient and do the conservation thing, save the well and the water and everything. So let's just shut the pivot off. This looks pretty good here. This is what I've learned over the years. Look, I'm pulling back 10 or 6 here. See, one of them's got some fairly significant insect feed.
Now I'm just hitting pause on this real quick because I'm going to drop this in the chat here. There we go. That is the link right there to the Grow the Farm Up YouTube channel, because that's my brother there, and that's his YouTube channel is Grow the Farm Up. So definitely check him out. Give him a like, share, subscribe right after you like, share, subscribe to KOE Nation on YouTube. I mean, obviously, of course, but yeah, give the brother of Extreme a little bit of YouTube clickery if you would. Granddad Christmas, you are the you are definitely the fan of the evening. I thank you. Wahoo Sam, do you ever hear voices in the cornfield? If you build it, they will come. No, I haven't actually. I feel kind of ripped off. Uh, but no, nothing like that. But yeah, I've seen some crazy shit in cornfields before. Just the other day, it turns out there was a cougar, fucking like mountain lion, whatever the fuck you want to call it. He was in the same field I was in for a little while, so that was fun. Because they started harvesting it and they started running the combine through it, and mountain lion ran out of the field and into the next field, and I was just in that field. It's like, well, that's disconcerting, but that's just part of it. Do you have a problem with birds at all? Need scarecrow? No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. Birds really only come heavy and hard when you got things like Milo, but like corn, you can see him shucking it on the leaf or on the stalk there, and that's actually a protection from a lot of things, from birds, from pests. The scarecrow is one of those. It's one of those myths that persists in like cartoons and animation, but it doesn't really have much of a place in actual farming. Like most people who have actual scarecrows, it's more of like a just kind of a cutesy thing. Like it doesn't serve an actual mechanic like people think it does. Because yeah, the birds just eventually roost on it.
So we actually needed constant pesticide application of the petrochemicals. It's like they breed the need for more, but so we just barely stayed ahead of it. Now, 95% of it's good because it's about understanding the life cycle of these. It's mainly wireworms through the drought this year that got in. I didn't see the earworm we largely took care of with, I don't know, I think that earworm corn trait pretty well knocked the earworm off the spectrum of pests that you see out here. But you see a lot of wireworm and armyworm get in late. And so you just barely stayed ahead of it. But look, we're pretty good. And everything is just pollinated just excellently. That's a pretty big ear of seed corn for Nebraska. Also, September 1st. We got a whole farm that looks like that we got to put in the bin, man. That's heavy. And look at that, it's setting great kernel depth. There's humongous density of taking in the nutrients from the soil right now, just filling out. We'll wait till it's like physiologically mature, not harvest it too early, and it'll have a higher saturated cold germ test next year in 2022 when the farmer plants it. And look at that, kernel size will be perfect. You guys won't, you could use an old disc planter. You won't need the precision thing. Everybody's selling those precision planters now. It's kind of funny because they don't want to size their seed because you really don't need to. It's a pain. But when you grow seed that is all perfectly, see that? That's just flat. That's a large flat. That's exactly what all modern planters are designed to plant. And you're basically getting that through 80% of the year. That's the premium stuff that you want to plant if you want to try to hit 300 bushel in southeast Nebraska. Let's see what's over here. Let's just at least check a couple spots. You know, the height of the sterile plant always seems like it's out in the middle of a 6-row section.
The people demand it.
Some years you talk about going back to 4141, but it just actually 4161 is the most efficient way to grow seed. We've studied it for, I don't know, only 89 years now. We tried 6.2. Never tried 4.242. Never saw the wisdom in that.
Don't go
That's a lot of
4.1 or
waste
4.2
on male, but yeah, that's one of those.
I think that's because there's just a little
pretty good
few extra
pollination
silks
because
in
you don't
there.
really want to.
That's just a factory issue.
I mean, all that crap's going to get thrown out on its way to the bag of seed that makes the end product that you farm and plant anyway. And look, just again, a bunch of small flats and large flats.
New setting, I didn't know about.
Like you want. There's, that one might be a medium round. You might grade a little bit of this, but a good seed company will take a lot of those medium rounds and just throw them out because it's only like 6-8%. I mean, that's why I knew C-Tech would always have high quality corn to sell and compete when I first met Dennis, because we both knew the mark of a good seed company is the marginal product they're willing to throw out and not push on farmers just because they have it for inventory. You see that happen all the time with those guys, man, all the time. So when you got the ability, like, when you're a farmer, like there's one that's not pollinated very well, you don't want to plant any seed off that one. Oh, dude, we got some pretty good corn out here, I tell you.
The one right next to it ain't bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff out here. I mean, this is sterile, but the vast majority of what we pulled open looks like this, and actually that's average. There's better, but yeah, I don't know. You could probably. I was thinking the 8. You're probably pushing it, but you better get going about the 8. So what we'll do is we will pray to the labor gods and wait until after Labor Day. I don't know why. Whenever we wait till after Labor Day, it seems like we have a better harvest, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it is about that, but so like the 7th or 8th, we'll just come harvest some of this stuff. That's what we'll do. About a week. Gonna make some volunteer corn for next year. Those will grow.
Oh, they will.
Yeah. You'll be looking at them on the road all year.
I figured I'd turn that down just a little. I'll see what you're hearing on your end, folks. Well, thank you, Granddad. Christmas. Yeah, that's me actually driving that tractor at the moment. Big Richardson trailer with a big old John Deere. And that's the Oxbow picker. And yeah, this is kind of a journey through how our harvest works. So this is in the field. So my brother and I kind of took you through commercial corn, and seed corn. We didn't really get into soybeans, didn't have the opportunity to. I was busy harvesting corn, as you can see. The soybeans, as you can see to the right, were still green. So you just, if you plant everything right, hey, can you see me now? If they could see me now. Holy bejeebus. I was in the vortex there for a little bit, folks. I do apologize. I mean, you were without your King of Extreme for a moment, and I do understand that could be. But yeah, even I was like, whoa. But yeah, the internet went butt kiss out here for just a little bit. So, what can you do? The main reason I come out here to the mill is because the upload rate here is amazing. Like, if I put together like an hour-long YouTube video, and I want to upload it from my little village of 350 people, it'll take 3 hours to get that video uploaded. If I want to drop a 2 hour video and I want to upload it from this mill, because we got such amazing upload rate because we got security cameras, so we have to. I'll like that 2 hour video will take like 8 minutes to upload. It's fucking insanity. So if I've got like a string of videos I want to upload, I'll just bring my computer here. And also, I can easily show you YouTube videos while I'm doing this. So, but yeah, the internet just like it just showed me it went butt kiss for just a second there, and it looks like everything once a day. Uh well, is the Elon Musk internet available to you yet? Or are you current internet good enough? Uh Unfortunately, I don't think Elon Musk internet is available to me yet. No, I'm. Oh, don't get me wrong. 5G is going to be just, mwah. And no, there's no such thing as good enough when it comes to digital technology. I am not of that opinion. I am of the idea of you can always push it a little further. There's always a little bit more computing power, a little more speed, a little more precision, a little more that can always be squeezed. And the minute that you think, like the learning should never stop, especially for computing. But yeah, to me, unfortunately, I'm making do with the internet that I have, and I also understand the era of the technologies that we currently possess. I understand that we're so not far along enough in the development of our species. We don't even understand how the cell splits yet. So yes, but in terms of good enough internet, no. Is that a roundabout enough way of answering that question? And also, yes, this is the pupper of Extreme, my dog Churro. He pretty much goes with me more or less everywhere I go. And yeah, he's just, he always rolls, he always rides. Yes, he is. He's the ultimate farm pupper. I have no idea how old he is either. Previous owner lied to me about how old he is. Told me he was a puppy. He's way not. So he could live another 10 years, another 10 minutes. I don't really know. Like I have no idea how long I got with this little guy. But he is a good little sidecar buddy. And yeah, he's laying on a couch over on the mill right now. Very dusty variety. Tea with ice. or iced tea as they call it. Like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I made a detasseling highlight video, so I guess I need to make a planting season highlight next year. Oh, this is just a good shot. I don't care. This is just a great shot. I've done enough of this internet and stuff to know a good shot when I see it. Also, this song is a copyright-free song by a band called Mocha, and the song's called Get Drunk. So, yeah, that's what I love about it. That depends on the region, really. We have irrigation, so that really helped. That really helped this year. The command center. Who was that devilishly handsome man there? And that's how the corn gets into my drying facility. And that was, I didn't give the walking floor enough time. That's quite a machine in its own right. But yeah, we'll get to the drought here in a moment. Because this is a very interesting part of my family's facility. And so this is how seed corn is sorted. Well, that's why we've got a lot of safety protocols. I'm proud to say that nobody's ever died on my shift, and I goddamn well intend on keeping it that way. And so these are how the shaker bins get filled. There's little laser eyes to make sure that they don't get overfilled. There goes my brother. Oh, thank you. The drought, unfortunately, the economic impact was really felt in the last drought. Like in Texas, a lot of the small ranchers dried up in the last great drought. And so there's fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to look at it, there's a little bit more corporate padding for that, especially if you're looking at like cattle in particular. In the grain markets, it really just depended on where you were and what your irrigation plans were, or if you had any. And of course, then you've got South America, which gets an extra crop a year. And these are the sorting machines. These robots use lots of laser eyes. And they actually, you have to set them properly, and they'll color sort them based on if there's still a husk or a shuck, or if it's diseased, or it's not what you want, in essence. Takes a lot of fine programming, but once you get it tuned properly, it's quite a sight to behold. And then the far back belt's recirculation. If it still has a leaf on it, you just recirculate it through the machine again. And then there's the good corn. And then there's all the shucks and husks and everything. Just basically all the stuff we don't want in the bin goes up that belt and into that trailer, which we dump into a big old pile, which that big old pile's still there. And there's some beauteous. There we go. I'm looking for a nice pretty one. There's a pretty one. And up it goes. And keep that sheller building off to the left in mind a little later. But here I am going up to the top of the dryer building. Half of it my grandfather built, and it was made of concrete. The other half my brothers and I built, and it's made of steel. The concrete half will take an F5 tornado. So, yeah, you know, Grandpa built to protect his investments. We, like, don't get me wrong, the one we built will take like an F3 or an F, maybe like an F4. That's asking a lot of any structure, but I want to say the 70s. No, that's not right. I'm gonna have to ask my grandpa about, or my dad about that one, because great grandpa had some a couple 4 bins built, and that was way before the 70s. So, but I know grandpa added on in the 70s. So, damn, granddad Christmas, now you're gonna make me ask. But yeah, this is the but yeah, I'm 5th generation farmer. The property that this mill is sitting on and this facility that you're seeing is sitting on was homesteaded by my great grandfather in the year 1900. Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. But yeah, that's silly. Like, I'm trying to, I can't remember the exact year that the actual ground was broken on the dryer specifically. The husking building, that's been there since time immemorial. That's a that's a local institution. And this is several days later after the crop has been dried and you have it at the proper moisture. This is at the bottom of the facility. This is how you extract the corn after it's the proper drying. Actually, what I'm raising here is seed corn. So what you're going to see here is the process in which we shell it. And then when we put it away, when we send it off, it gets bagged. And this is the corn that everyone else farms next year. This is the corn that everyone else plants next year. So that's seed corn. Every single one of those seeds is actually a live embryo. It's not like each one of them has to germinate and grow into a plant. What the farmer plants next year doesn't necessarily have to germinate and grow. And in fact, that's not even the point. It's going to be used as an industrial product. It's going to be food, fuel, feed, take your pick. It's not going to be something that's going to be called upon to grow next year. And yep, there it is. And you definitely have to wear ear protection when you go into this building, because the sheller building, we've measured it, the decibels required, because this is a machine that's ripping the seeds off of hundreds of ears at a time. There, you can see it working. That generates a lot of sound. Now it does it in a way that doesn't damage the seed, which is why we love this old machine here. It's they quit making these back in the 60s. So and there you go. That's I should have got better shots of the actual shelling process, but I didn't want to put my phone over it and accidentally drop. Like, dude, no. Oh, lame. Because I'm not going to be able to get down to the kill button in time. Like, that phone will be chewed to nothing. And there you go. It's going right into a... yeah. Oh, I'm going to go back just a little bit for that one. Now we're putting the grain away into a bin. That's a cone bottom bin as opposed to flat bottom bin. I prefer cone bottoms just personally. Less labor intensive. A little bit more of a pain in the ass to clean and maintain, but when it comes time to unload them, you only need one or two people as opposed to flat bottoms. You're going to do some shoveling when it comes time to fully empty it. My dad told me to get that shot. He was like, Phil, there's a lot of people on this Twitch you're talking about that they live their life on a computer. So they're going to just want to see anything that's not in front of a computer. Because to me, this is just like what I do. You know what I mean? Like the fact that people would find this fascinating, I find fascinating, if that makes sense. Oh goodness, my great grandfather, or no, just my great grandpa. He was using mechanized machines, but his father-in-law, my great grandfather, he was one of those guys like, no, these tractors, no, you can't. Some will break down. Your horse, though, you can rely on him. So that was one of my great granddads. Distantly, which I think is pretty funny. But like, no, the great grandfather that I bear the same last name homesteaded this property I'm sitting on, which I do like. Really, it just depends on, because we're seed farmers, so we have to make sure that everything's perfectly clean and kernel clean. So every time I want to put a new variety of something in there, I have to make sure that it's kernel clean. And there's a lot of little nooks and crannies you got to get in there. And another day in paradise, folks. What can I say? That was a particularly dusty day. So it depends. It could just be once a year. It could be 4 or 5 times if it's a really busy production year. So, but like I said, when it comes time to unload them, it's a lot less labor intensive. So it's everything's a compromise. You know what I mean? And the flat bottoms, you can arguably get more bushels. You can get more storage space. So take your pick, I guess. And we'll be seeing one of them shortly. No, we no longer have horses. We got 4-wheelers though. So, we kind of figure that's probably serves our purposes. But yeah, no, my grandpa used to have horses when he was a little boy, and he would go check fields and check gravity irrigation. Totally different system from center drive pivots. But when he was a little boy, even, and I'll get into, well, what the hell? My grandpa, he told me a story about when he was a little boy. He was like 9 years old when World War II went down, and a lot of the prisoners of war in World War II were actually they were actually taken to Nebraska because there's still a pretty big German-speaking population in Nebraska. So there was like these Nazi prisoners of war, and one day, great grandpa apparently hired out a contract with Uncle Sam. All right, I need some day laborers, and they were prisoners of war. And so my 9-year-old grandpa, just about ready to shit himself, like, are you kidding me? I have to do what with and so he had to show them what to do to tassel the corn properly, and he had to go up and down the rows. And he was like, they were just there for that day. That was it. And they didn't speak English, and I just had to tell them, do this, and had to pantomime for them. They go, oh yeah, okay. And he said they were one of the best. Dang, like they did a bang up job. Like they were like, almost swear they thought their life was on the line or something. Like, yeah, he got a pretty good laugh out of it years to come later. But it was one of those, like, yeah, when he was a 9-year-old kid, he was shitting himself. Like, oh my God, Dad, what are you doing? What did you get me into? Why am I doing this? So yeah. And this is some soybean harvest, and oh God, soybeans are so fucking dusty. This was a particularly dusty variety. Oh, thank you. Wahoo Sam says, my great grandma was a German immigrant who lived in a neighborhood in Lincoln called the North Bot. Oh my God! When I was in college, I worked a gas station in the North Bottoms. You gotta be shitting me. 10th and Charleston. That was where I used to work when I was a kid. Yep. Holy shit, the North fucking Bottoms. I could, like, wow, that's nice. You have no idea. That might have just made my night right there. The North fucking Bottoms. I used to work in the North Bottoms when I was in college. That's fucking hilarious. Holy fuck. The North Bottoms. Oh, fuck me running. That's too fucking funny, man. And here we are. This is now commercial corn. And this is getting dropped off at an ethanol plant. Oh. Now back to the commercial corn harvest. And yep, we're kind of lucky because there's an ethanol plant, not too terribly far from us. Like, some folks have to come from far and wide. Yeah, that's probably pixelating out a little for you, but that's some fast motion. So that's just there's really not much I can do about that. But yeah, so this is the commercial corn. This is the stuff, like I said, this is the stuff that gets made into food, fuel, and feed. And so this is stuff that's getting made into fuel. And, this is just exiting the facility. And sometimes you'll get right up to the here and be able to dump immediately, and sometimes you'll have to sit in your truck and wait for an hour or 2 hours before you can dump. It just depends on the price of corn, what the ethanol plant's paying, how much farmers got in the bin. It's all a marketing game. I see you are planting your seed. Soon you will be K.O.E. Khan. Yes. I like that. Holy shit. Alesto. I mean, goodness gracious. Like, I'm knighting all of you. Wahoo, Sam, Granddad, Christmas, Alesto. All of you have been knighted. Full weekhood of knightery for the KOE Nation. God bless all of you. I had no idea that happened. Learning so much from KOE tonight. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that was some fucked up shit, wasn't it? And actually, a friend of mine that I met in college, that's how his grandpa got here. And his grandpa taught him chess, and he was fucking great at chess. And so I always gave him shit. It's like, oh, you're cheating. You're using your Nazi chess. Fuck you, Phil. But fuck, that guy was good at chess. He and I played a game every day for about a year, and I only beat him like a handful of times. He was really good at chess. Yeah, I love playing chess, but this guy just was next fucking level. Like, he could actually play competitively for money. It was something to watch. I'm going to turn the music up a little bit here because the ending has some beautiful Phil K.O.E. talkery. Let me bring that down. That's a little much, you're all thinking. Okay, now there's another hopper to go. Good God. My chess is so good, my stepdad punt. Oh, doesn't that feel like, you got your pawn to the other side? Dude, how did it get here? And of course you're going to want your most devastating piece back. This is going to suck. I actually, one time, 2 Christmases ago with my cousin, she's a couple years younger than me, nice girl, we had an epic chess game where we managed to both take each other's queens. We managed to both get our pawns to the other side. It took like 3.5 fucking hours. It was epic. It was one of those, like, at the end of it, we both shook each other's hands. The whole family was like, Jesus, this is still going? Like, mind your own fucking business, uncle. This is between me and the cousin here, okay? But yeah, that chess game was fucking epic. It's like the ultimate destruction of winners. Oh, God, that's pain. And that is Corn Harvest 2021. Thanks for joining us on this little journey, folks. Whew. Well, folks, that is it. Just dumped the last truck. Harvest 2021. Just got the last of the soybeans in. The corn's been done for a day or two now. Feels awful good. Yep, just turned the truck off. So, folks, thanks for joining us for this little wrap up of harvest and a little highlight video. So, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. I hope to find all of you right back here, happy, healthy, much the wiser. God bless. Catch you around, folks. Alrighty, so yes, that was my journey through harvest this year. That was quite the just giving you kind of a preview of what's happening. And I'm actually going to go to my brother's YouTube channel here because he showed something I wasn't able to get because I was just in different aspects of the farm operation. But this was him catching he was getting the soybean operation getting harvested at the same time we were planting cover crop, because I mean, a lot of people, and I got to get into this, Alesto. Longest game excluding D&D was Monopoly. Our Monopoly game last 5 days. Damn. Okay, you win. I was going to say, I once had a Risk game that went for like 9 hours, but no, you win. It's yours. Holy fuck. Yeah, that. Okay, cover crop. Okay, what a cover crop is, in this case, we're using like different types of Austrian and Wyoming winter peas. We're using rye in some instances, clover. And what they do is, if you give Mother Nature, can you explain cover crop? If you give Mother Nature something to grow, I mean, something's going to want to grow on that soil. So put something there that's going to actually benefit, rather than just leaving it bare. And yes, it does that and more. It like, here's the thing, like, we don't just do this because we're just so altruistic, and there is actual benefits for it. You do actually put sugars in the ground, nutrients in the ground. Like Austrian winter peas actually have on their roots little nodules that actually leach nitrogen into your soil. So it's actually adding nutrient to the soil if you get the right kind of winter peas. They're very hardy plant. Like, to get rid of them when you want to plant your actual crop it's not easy. It can be done, but it's not easy. But yes, it's to renutrient the ground. But also, if you put like certain kinds of radishes or beets or turnips, what that accomplishes is it digs deep into the ground and it plants those roots in deep, and it actually acts as a form of tillage. So if you do this properly, you actually save extra rounds with your equipment. So that's less diesel fuel, less everything that you need to use, less chemicals being applied to the soil. And like my grandpa always said, you make your money off your creepy crawlies and your little microbes in your soil. So, great. Yeah, we played for a long time, then took a break, but it was on off for 5 days. Last 2 people had equal properties, and we just kept missing our hotels. Damn, that's brutal. Eventually we called stalemate. Yeah, you kind of have to at that point. But yeah, so, and here's the big kicker. Here's the one that like environmentalists really, when they hear this, it's a big plus. The cover crops also pull carbon out of the atmosphere. The plant eats it or breathes it in the form of CO2, pulls it out of the atmosphere, puts it into the soil in a way that is available for the next year's crop to eat. And you can actually pull 10 times more of this fucking carbon out of the ground than you can from most other methods. So this is one of those, well, yes, saving the planet once again. Yes, I'm only one man doing what I can. And I will show a couple of, Thank you. Yes. Good evening from Iowa, where we grow inferior corn. I mean, the Nebraska corn is kind of where it's at. What can I say? But there's a lot more connection to Iowa corn and Nebraska corn than anybody would want to admit. I mean, there's a lot of crossing of strains there. Instead of Captain Planet, it's Captain K.O.E. Yes, there's another one, Captain K.O.E., K.O.E. Con. Like, I've got a lot of good nicknames this evening from all you beautiful people in Alesto. You're just fucking on fire this evening. But yeah, it's a green way of going. And here's the thing. The other thing is, you have to apply chemicals to try and kill weeds. This is another chemical you don't have to apply, and it's another round of equipment that doesn't have to make another round. So if you're worried about the greenhouse gases or the emissions, now for a farmer, it's about the money. It's about the fact that you don't have to spend another round. It's not all just pure altruism. If it doesn't make a bottom line sense, folks aren't going to do it. And this one actually, because you're covering the ground so nothing else can grow there other than what you want to grow there that's benefiting your soil. So it kills out the noxious weeds like palmer amaranth and bindweeds and those types that can really overtake a field. and you're pulling carbon out of the atmosphere. And so we're trying to find a way to actually quantify how much we're pulling versus, what crop arrangement. And trust me, there's some very large corporations that are very curious about our research. Like, oh yeah, get back to us. We'd love to buy some fucking carbon credits. So it's an interesting potential market of tomorrow, if you will. And yeah, so I'm going to show you this video real quick, and then I'm going to show you a video of my brother and my dad getting into their philosophy on cover crop.
Guys grow the farm up. It's been a while since I put anything out, but
forgive my
that's
brother's
the way
awful
we do
camera
it
work.
here. There is a combine right there, and then right behind that combine is a 40-foot drill drilling cover crop. Day of, there's actually another combine out there picking, and we have 3 different varieties of seed beans on this field. That's what you see there. That's a patch that we left unplanted, so naturally weeds grow there. That's why you see that strip. That's how you can keep the varieties clear. What fun that is. We have to clean down the combine, kernel clean, and then purge 100 bushels through everything, from your Peterbilt to your combine to your grain cart. But I just happened to have been busy, and I've got a weird superstitious reason I'm going to share with you after harvest why I haven't put a video out in a while. But I wanted to catch this and not address anything else other than we're seeing some really record yields off of this full regenerative field. That's what this is. This is that field that's full regenerative, that's in the previous 2 videos that we uploaded like 4 months ago. And there's a reason I haven't put anything out, guys. It's superstitious reason, maybe.
Farmers
I
are
don't know,
superstitious folk.
Look at that, drilling the cover crop, and actually got some video. We're actually watering the cover crop up in places. It looks really nice. And so, we got custom combine operators that bring in brand new combines. These are the only guys that can afford to bring you 2 or 3 combines and go when you need to go. And that way you can free your operation up to run an entirely other planting season. That's really what it takes, is just dedication to a second planting season during the fall when you're harvesting. It's tough to do. Gotta give a lot of credit where credit's due there. My father's been really pushing that. I mean, he sees this as a way to get his organic matter.
Yep.
A lot of it quickly, and he's correct. We've seen organic matter increases in the last 5 years that really, they didn't think that much organic matter increase was possible. And look at those fields. Just, increasing the organic matter is
yes to both of those questions.
Helping so much
in one way or another.
They're just so soft. You can just drill right into them.
Oh yeah.
That's part of the problem now.
A good bean field.
So much density that the equipment's so heavy, the beam's so heavy, and the ground is just so soft. It's holding them up, but they're putting a few. It's just great. It's great problems to have, man. Okay, guys, I gotta get back to work. See what he's doing there. Looks like he's being crazy. He's dumping, but he wants to pick at the same time because we're losing the sun. And anybody out there picking soybeans knows you get about 8 good hours a year for perfect seed soybean picking conditions. You can't pick seed soybeans till they're 12. No, I don't care what anybody tells me. I've seen it all. No, none of that 15 shit, boys. No green in the field, otherwise your seed will suck. And a lot of guys will take 15 moisture seed and beans and turn it into seed. Nope. It's one of those things we do. It's why what we provide value added. And now he'll scooch over that he's not dumping anymore. Wasn't that a neat trick? I'm gonna have to give him a hard time, especially if we put this video out. But I'll put out another one when harvest is over. that'll have a lot of stuff in it. And we'll even talk about spooky superstitions. All right. This is a Grow the Farm Up with Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is, Regenerative Farming 101 video coming at you on 10/8/2021. We're taking that carbon from up there and we're putting it back down here where it does us more good and it makes the plant healthier and it makes the soil healthier. Might just be one of the 5 answers. All right, guys, grow the farm up.
All right, now let me see if I can find his video about cover cropping. All right. Yep. This is the one you probably want if you're at all.
Okay, guys,
This is Grow the Farm Up with Gramps the Farm Up. This is my dad. And he's sharing a lifetime of soil health knowledge with you here, folks. So I have good news. I finally got approved for my oral boards on Saturday. Well, good for you. You got some you got some spelling errors there, but yeah, good for you, man. Good for you. Exciting times. So what does that mean? I got approved for my oral boards on Saturday. What? Please let me know what that means. I like, again, like, I'm a farmer in Nebraska. What is that? Sorry, I gotta be honest with you. I think we've established I'm a farmer in Nebraska, so I might not know what that is. I'm sorry. That is kind of funny. Oral boards are medical, means I get to run codes and 911 calls by my. Well, fucking hey, good for you. Okay, that is a big deal. God damn. Yeah, and oh yeah. I don't get medical lingo. Ex of mine was a CNA, and like it's like the military. Like if you don't know the fucking lingo, like it's like. To everybody else, like it can be kind of fucking crazy. And man, there's a great story. I should, I don't know how to tell it, but I'll get to it later. But yeah, and you know, maybe not. When you're talking about medical stuff, everyone starts to, their butt starts clenching like, oh, HIPAA. So yeah, but I've got one of those, like, I think I could get a hard 5 out of this. So I'll have to find a way for that. I got some people that don't. Yeah, but well, good for you. Good for you. I'm very happy for you. Oh, excuse me. Wahoo Sam, you probably have the same with farmer lingo. Yeah, like furrow in the plow and stuff like that. Like nobody knows what a furrow is. Like I was in a conversation with somebody and I was like, yeah. You know, you use a knife to like just when a planter plants into a field, it makes a little furrow like that. And you got to use a knife to dig it out to find where the seed is. So you can find where the furrow in the plow is. And somebody looked at me like, I have no idea what that means. Because like I make this mistake a lot. Like one of my biggest mistakes when meeting new people is I assume that what I know is just the baseline of all human knowledge. Like, well, obviously everybody knows about cover crops and why they're planted and why people do that and how a seed grows and why, like, obviously everybody knows that, right? And then you find out, no, most people don't. I was like, oh, wow. Because, yeah, I'm 5th generation. It's just so ingrained into me that it's just kind of hard to see otherwise. You're welcome. Nebraska Farmer Fan 53. Oral boards are a type of certification need to get a job at the dick sucking factories. Facts. The last of these. Oh, I was so. The last was like, nah, I'm going for all kinds of certifications here. Like, oh lordy. That's my other job, Nebraska. Like, yeah, he's got other certifications. He's going for the oral board, this other board. He's going to become a notary public. Like, yeah, he's just going for the hat trick. Good Lord Almighty God. This is the top level content you come to the K.O.E Nation here for. But all right, getting back on track. This is my dad giving just kind of some basics.
Farm up.
On
I finally
cover
got
crop.
a chance to run my father down, Brad Lauber Sr., who's been the brainchild behind our regenerative farming program for the last 20 years. I'll let you take it away, Dad.
Look at that soil, coffee grounds.
Beautiful.
We're planting today. It looks moist, but it's dry.
We're planting into this. Look at this. And we're getting a good seed bed.
Good decomposition. And you look, we planted 13 varieties. I'm trying to, here's some lentils. Here's wild mustard. That's a
Giggity.
Austrian winter pea. These are Forbes, Harry Fetch. Just to name a few.
Clover.
There is clover, yes. If you gotta dig down, you can find those petals.
I've just been simplifying it, calling them the legumes and cool season grasses, but that is the science behind it there. This guy has not applied anhydrous ammonia since 1982, 84.
Facts. We fucking
And
hate
has been
anhydrous.
working on biology, soil science, and
aside.
regenerative farming since the 90s, since before it was cool.
I've done it both ways. We used to disc, chisel, field cultivate twice, and now we do nothing. We put on a cover crop, and there's got to be several tons an acre of organic matter here. And it'll show up in our tests.
I would not hesitate to suggest that we have actually created an 1/8 or a 16-inch of topsoil, because this cover
Tasting
crop
it'll
was
tell you a lot.
broadcast on in late July of 2020.
I'm not quite there yet, but
It was
I'm
not
getting
planted.
close.
It was broadcast into a standing cornfield and has not been touched since, other than we mowed it once with the shredder. Now we're planting directly into it. And look at this soil, folks. This is like peat moss that you would go buy.
Yeah.
This looks much different than a lot of the rental ground we farm on.
That's fair. That's fair.
We had a
probably should.
spade. I can't believe we don't.
What kind of farmer doesn't have a spade, Dad?
His sons take them all the time.
Well,
I
got
actually-
such good
That was actually me that
good
stole the
shovels.
spade.
We might steal them from time. Sorry about that.
That was all me, actually. I stole it that time.
Probably 5 or 6 of them.
We dig up and kill more worms when we dig for seed to see where it's getting placed than we do find seeds. Wanted to take the opportunity to introduce you to the old man, the brainchild behind most of, he says all of, I say most of, our regenerative farming techniques and tactics. And here he comes, just got fueled up.
Planting beans.
And look at that, we are drilling directly into this with a 7.5-inch Great Plains drill. High nutrient dense soybeans.
7.5-inch rows.
7.5-inch rows, 40 foot wide.
And come back in a few weeks, show me the beans.
Thank
Stay
you.
tuned. Come back and check out and see what the result of this is.
That was not
All
me
right,
that
guys, grow
day,
the farm
I'm
up.
afraid. Thank you. Thank you. God bless all you too. Yes. Thank you. I'm just one cog in this great tapestry of humanity, and I do my part to make sure that people are fed. And you know what? I need people that need to eat in order for me to make it. So, it's a two-sided coin, like like I have seen some farmers take a really shitty attitude when they're getting, now granted it was a debate where a farmer was getting like talked down to from somebody in the urban area, and they're like, without me you can't fucking anything, I don't do that shit because it's a two-sided fucking edge. I need people that need to eat too, so it's yeah, you fuel me to do my job. So thank you, because corn goes to feed pretty much beef, pork, chicken, the main staple meats, and even like a lot of processed food has some corn in it. Like even if you're just like having like, if you're like doing the totally vegan pizza, there's probably some corn in there, you know what I mean? So uh like I said, I make the corn that everybody else plants next year, and so that's where a lot of the scaling, like, the idea of like, have you eaten some of my corn? Probably, like maybe one kernel or something mixed in with the great whole. I mean, just saying statistically, more than likely, yeah, actually. So that was look at my brother's YouTube channel, Grow the Farm Up. Definitely check him out. Of course, after you've subscribed to K.O.E Nation on YouTube, also K.O.E Nation here on Twitch TV, and I just got TikTok, K.O.E Nation. My buddy Tony and he's going to show me how to, get videos up on TikTok, and I'm going to start doing that because I'm always coming up with songs that I can't really sing with background music anywhere because they're always copyrighted, because I make like Weird Al Yankovic parody styles. Like I've got one for Christmas that you will definitely be enjoying here, folks. But alrighty, so that was an interesting little trek down the world of farming and agriculture. You should sing a farmer's ode. Oh my god. I'm trying to think of an old school song that's not like copyrighted or well, in the big rock candy mountain, you never clean your socks, and the little streams of alcohol come trickling down the rocks. In the big rock candy mountain, the cops have wooden legs, and dang it, the jails are made of tin, and you can walk out again as soon as you are in. In the big rock candy mountain, you never change your socks. And something about cigarette. Dang it. I forgot all the words to Big Rock Candy Mountain, but I'll have to get there. But yeah, unfortunately, that's see, you aren't an affiliate. Well, I know. Awful. I'm working on it day by day, minute by minute, inch by inch, foot by foot, piece by piece. Lordy. So, all right, there's something else. I enjoyed making this video, so I'm gonna bring it up. It's for another faction within the K.O.E Nation of the mini. This is from the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast. This is the one that got me started. I've been doing Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, I'd say, for a little over 3 years now. Goodness, I'm trying to think, maybe 4. I think it might be 4 years now. So this is one that I made. This is another instance of the pandemic having doing its unfortunate thing. This is a wrestling company that a lot of folks like CM Punk came up in is closing.
One and all to the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast.
And I hate the way I combed my hair for
on
this
YouTube,
one.
Check us out, Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast.
I didn't have a mirror in my house, and that's a long story that I'll get into
Spotify,
later.
RevRestPod on Twitter. I am your King of Extreme, Phil K.O.E, the devilishly handsome outlaw himself. You can find me at K.O.E Nation on YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok, folks. Yes, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. You can find your King of Extreme. But without further ado, let's get into this breaking news. Ring of Honor. Is it done? Is it closed for business? Will it be no more? We will find out very shortly. What really put the nail in the coffin for me in terms of whether I think this company will actually restart or not is the fact that they put their tape library for sale. The fact that their extensive, almost decade-long tape library is now for sale tells me that they're probably not going to be in operation next year, which is unfortunate. Now, everybody thinks, oh, Vince is going to buy the tape library. Not necessarily. That's not a given. What a lot of people don't remember is that in Ring of Honor, within its tape library is one very important pay-per-view, All In, which was the impetus to create All Elite Wrestling. So you can bet that Tony Khan's going to want that in his tape library.
Yes, sir.
And he's also trying to build up his library for other streaming services.
There's
But
times
WWE,
AEW puts on
when they
better
hear that
matches than
there's
WWE.
wrestling tape libraries for sale, they usually don't skimp. So let me know what you think in the comments as to where that's going to go. But I just wanted to get into a little something here. This is actually from Sports Illustrated, the wrestling side. This was published October 28th, 2021. Chronic mismanagement spelled the demise of Ring of Honor as we know it. The pioneering
To each
wrestling
their
company
own.
isn't dead,
Different
but
strokes for
Sinclair's
different folks.
mistakes prevented it from reaching its full potential by the one and only Justin Barrasso. So here we go.
Hey,
Here's the article.
life's short. Enjoy it.
AEW aired a fantastic live edition of Dynamite on Wednesday night in Boston, then taped this week's Rampage. The stars involved in the show included Adam Cole, Hangman Page, the Young Bucks, all of whom were once key players in Ring of Honor. Had Ring of Honor correctly utilized its massive reservoir of talent over the past 5 years, it should have been able to put on shows like Dynamite and Rampage. Instead, the once proud company is looking to reimagine its future. Ring of Honor, which on multiple occasions redefined the wrestling space, announced Wednesday that it is effectively going to cease operations as a full-time company. Ring of
Oh, that's
Honor
right. My little was there that
COO,
weekend.
Chief Operational Officer, Joe K.O.E, who is an executive for Sinclair Broadcasting Group, Ring of Honor's parent company, held a Zoom call for talent to explain the specifics. That included everyone being released from their contract. Not everyone from the roster, however, was on the call, which left multiple people, including some top talent, unaware of the massive change. Sports Illustrated confirmed from multiple sources that contracts expiring on or before March 31st, 2022 will be paid out for the duration of the deal. Contracts extending beyond March 31st will necessitate individual meetings between the talent and Sinclair management, most likely to come to terms on a buyout. Ring of Honor's first event, The Era of Honor Begins, took place in February of 2002. The promotion was known among industry insiders as a welcome alternative from WWE and featured emerging stars like CM Punk, Samoa Joe, Bryan Danielson, and Nigel McGuinness. Its financial situation changed significantly in 2011 when Sinclair purchased the promotion. Yet despite all the benefits of being owned by a major force in broadcasting, Ring of Honor never took the steps necessary to become a top player in the industry. It always lacked a signature television show, one that would air on a consistent time and night, even though there were executives within the company, including K.O.E, who continued to spread the idea that one was coming. Whoever thought Impact Wrestling would outlast Ring of Honor? This is a devastating development for the talent, who now have one less place to work. And while the pandemic will ultimately bear the brunt of the blame, it is simply not fair to use that as the excuse. When speaking with multiple Ring of Honor talent and former office employees, they all shared the same sentiment, telling Sports Illustrated that the end of the company is the result of mismanagement from the top. Ultimately, the company never recovered after allowing the Bucks and Rhodes to leave the company at the end of 2018. Though there was the success of the Madison Square Garden show in 2019, co-promoted with New Japan Pro Wrestling, much of that night's success was due to the combination of what the Bucks, Rhodes, Kenny Omega, as well as the stars of New Japan Pro Wrestling, built on Ring of Honor shows. And the considerable buzz and attention placed upon the company was never replicated after Ring of Honor management decided not to invest the money necessary to keep the Bucks and Rhodes. Had they been given a respectful offer, especially the Bucks, who were the faces of the company, it's very likely they never would have left, which forever alters what happened with the creation and success of AEW. Ring of Honor Wednesday's statement explained that the company will go on hiatus after its final Battle pay-per-view in December. We anticipate returning to live events in April for the Super Card of Honor with a new fan-focused product and provide a unique experience for wrestling fans, it continued. If Ring of Honor is sincere in its desire to run Super Card of Honor in April, it is odd that talent contracts were not extended to include that date. For years, Ring of Honor offered a savings or zero net loss to Sinclair. The company will likely explain its new business model on an inability to recover from the pandemic, during which Ring of Honor was still paying talent contracts, even when not running shows. But the truth is that the product was stale and shows were unable to
Had a
sell
lot of
tickets.
reasons I needed to cut
Impact
there.
and Major League Wrestling should benefit from the wealth of talent suddenly hitting the free agent market. But the pool is diluted for the talent since the market is now flooded with free agents. The Ring of Honor tape library is also available and will go to the highest bidder. Ring of Honor has been privately trying to move the library, the Sinclair-owned archive from 2012 on, for more than a year. That includes the All In pay-per-view in September 2018, which was the precursor to AEW. While AEW owns a trademark, it is Ring of Honor that owns the footage. Sports Illustrated learned that the company is asking for much more than the current market dictates. And while it once seemed like WWE would be a major factor in pursuit of that tape library, it makes slightly less sense now considering that so many former Ring of Honor stars have exited WWE. Backed by Sinclair, Ring of Honor possessed every tool to flourish in pro wrestling space. Its demise is an avoidable and sad end of a pioneering wrestling company. And I hear they're going to be doing their final battle in December, and that's the end of the article. They will be doing their final battle in December, and I will definitely be watching that because this is the end of an era. Because I'll be honest, if you had to ask me, I think that will be Ring of Honor's final pay-per-view. I do not believe they will come back next year. I think with the sale of the tape library, that will be Sinclair cutting its losses, calling it good. So, folks, this is an unfortunate development for fans of Ring of Honor, for fans of wrestling, not sports entertainment. And I wish all of the talent and everybody involved a speedy placement and somewhere else, wherever you will find greater happiness. So, folks, it's unfortunate, but as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining us here at the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast. You can find us, Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, on YouTube and Spotify, RevRest Pod on Twitter. And I am Phil K.O.E. of the K.O.E. Nation. You can find me at K.O.E. Nation on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. Yes, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch, K.O.E. Nation. Folks, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. I hope to find all of you back here at the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, happy, healthy, much the wiser. And for all of you at Ring of Honor, God bless, Godspeed, travel well.
Here and see if it just smooths itself out.
Tell you what I'll do if I ever get back. I promise to refabricate you, raging rivers of gold. That's what the brochure advertised. And now we're lost. We gotta take it down. Let you down slow. It's hard to survive. El Dorado. Oh, Lord. Well, let's see how that one went.
Yeah. See.
Lordy. No, those other two guys. Okay, Tony, he actually works at a. Let's see. Let me just get to all these. Granddad Christmas. Amazing. I have not watched too much Ring of Honor, but it's sad to see another wrestling company. Yeah, it was, and they really tried hard not to, but they did. The Briscoes, they're controversial, but they do have a cult following. I shouldn't use that word, but it's the easiest one. We all kind of get what it means. But I think Impact more likely because they've just got just enough controversy in their past. I don't think Tony Khan's gonna want to really touch it until they've shown themselves to be a little bit bigger players. And then the other two guys, one was Chicken. He's not a farmer. He's a logistics guy for a Fortune 500 company. I'm not going to say which one, but he runs logistics for a good chunk of his state. So I'm going to give him some credit there. Tony, he's one of my best friends in this life. He's not he would not classify it as such, but hey, it's a major one. You've heard of it. So but he runs logistics for it. But the two other guys, Tony G, he works at a mill. So he's someone who I actually sometimes take my grain to on occasion, and that mill will then market it and sell it off in the way that it seems the best way to make money. And so, yeah, we're all interconnected. It's the great circle of farming life. But yeah, I'm gonna let Chicken know he's a high roller. He would be quite shocked to be informed. He's like, motherfucker, really? But no, that's funny. It's because hey, it's like that Cheech and Chong movie. Things are tough all over, which is not a good movie, as if I do recall. So I can see it now. Run your product to his mill. After being milled, you guys go to the bar for a couple. I mean, that's why we do also review liquor together on occasion. Once in a while, you can find one or two reviews on the K.O.E Nation where we'll get into that, and it's really a fun time. And I enjoy that because we get to like try all different kinds of things from around the world, and it's just an interesting time with me and my buddy. Yeah, Tony and I, we've had some trials and tribulations, but it's all been good. Yeah, he's one of those few friends that you just like. No matter how bad I fuck up, no matter what I do, right or wrong, he's just fucking there, ride or die. And so that's one of those. If you got a friend like that, show him some appreciation in this life because those are very, very few and far between. Yeah. So, but yeah, so that's why Tony G's always on my podcasts. And Chicken, he and I actually didn't get along very well in high school because we were on opposite ends of the political spectrum, and so we would always like argue. But over time, we actually became pretty good friends, and now, yeah, he's on the short list as well. Yeah, but yeah, so those are the two guys that were at the end there, and that's why Tony was just able to beatbox because we've been like we've been working this for a good long time. We've got good rhythm. So yeah, Tony, he's got I was joking. I'm shocked he's ever even able to come out because he's got so many kids at home. But yeah, it's always great when we get him out, and it's always fun times. And in due time, I've got some video that I might upload about some stuff that we did a couple months ago. So it's just been sitting. I've been trying to get it edited. So in due time, keep your eyes on this space. But the next video, as a preview to what I'm going to be dropping the next time I come on live, which will be soon. It's not going to be tomorrow night because, well, tomorrow is the Dog and Chicken Show, Big Buckin' Empire on YouTube, and you need to be definitely going over to Big Buckin' Empire on YouTube, giving that a subscribe. Go to Big Buckin' Empire on Facebook, become a member, and I mean, goodness gracious, then you're up to date and you have another connection to all of this beautiful K.O.E content. I mean, that's a deal and a half. I mean, that's the easiest deal, and it costs you nothing, folks. My goodness gracious. Then you need to definitely subscribe to K.O.E Nation on YouTube. You need to follow me on Twitch, TikTok. You need to just any way you can. You need to make sure that you're connected to Phil K.O.E. Also, go to the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast on YouTube and now Spotify. We are expanding by the fucking day, folks. So, yes, but the next time I go live, there is going to be a special reading. I have done a complete book reading of The Art of War. So, that's going to be part of the show. I'm, of course, going to cover the news of the day, but that's also going to be one of the topics du jour of The Art of War by Sun Tzu, which I did a complete reading of, and it was mentally, it required a lot more introspection than I thought. Now, the next one that I'm going to do, I'm torn between either 1984 by George Orwell or The Book of Five Rings by Musashi. Those are two of my most influential books I've ever read in all my life. Like, if you're going to ask me, what are the two most important books? 1984, Book of Five Rings. There you go. That's it. Like, that's if I was like, Animal Farm's pretty good. But what happened was my English teacher, I'm gonna have to tell this story now. In high school, we were doing the Orwell. We're doing the Orwell curriculum. We were doing the Orwell course in high school class, and my English teacher kind of knew me, and that when it came to reading and comprehension, that kind of stuff, I really excelled. And we were going to do Animal Farm. We were going to have to cover it, read one chapter a day. We were going to talk about it. So she had like a good chunk of time, like ready. Like, this is just kind of, all right, let's stretch it out till summer here, kids. All right, Animal Farm. I take Animal Farm home and I read the whole book in a night. I come back, I'm like, I've read the whole book. She goes, dang it. So she just goes to her bookshelf, pulls 1984 off of it, hands it to me, and just blew my fucking mind and fucked my whole world up. Like, because I was 14, 15, I want to say. I wasn't 16. It was like 13 to 15. And I read 1984, and that was just like, oh my God, I need to dedicate any bit of strength in my will that I can to make sure that this world never becomes manifest in whatever way I can. If I have to use my eloquence here online, if I have to fucking do whatever I can, just labor in a way that I can look at myself in the mirror and know that I'm doing good and helping others and making sure, just whatever I can do to make sure that that world never becomes manifest. And so that was the effect of a good teacher at the right time can be tremendous. And so that was one teacher I'll never forget. And she knows who she is. She's my high school English teacher, and she handed me Animal Farm after I had just burned through she handed me 1984 after I'd burned through Animal Farm in a night. And yeah, that was one of those just great teacher experiences that I'll never forget. So that's why 1984 is on the short list of books I'm going to do an audiobook reading on. I'm probably going to do Book of Five Rings next because it's nonfiction and it doesn't require characters. Because I've been wondering how I'm going to go about doing characters in fiction books. Because like I've listened to some audio comics, like the Star Wars audio comics are fucking brilliantly, beautifully made. If you haven't seen any of them, you really must. I mean, you simply must. I think you need to definitely go check out the Star Wars audio comic for Dark Empire, that trilogy. The reason is because they even get the guy who plays Lando Calrissian. He does the fucking voice of his own fucking character, okay? They get the original Star Wars actor to do the voice of his character just because he didn't really have much to do that fucking week. And so that's the fucking effort they put into these. And so after I listened to that, I was like, oh, fuck. I can't just do a feminine voice for a woman. I need to find some females and some women to do some female voices, you know what I mean? Like, and so I've been, asking around and get some minor interest, but still, like, it's kind of a weird project for anybody to come up to you with, like, hey, I need a female voice for a project. So it's one of those, like, we'll see what happens. But so I'm definitely going to cover nonfiction narratives first, because that I can just do with my voice. Because all tomorrow's, it was nonfiction, but it was from a single narrator's point of view, so that was easy. The Art of War is Sun Tzu's treatise on combat and war. It's pretty easy enough. The Book of Five Rings, Musashi, and I think I might be saying the name wrong. It's terrible if I am. He was a samurai who had won 60 one-on-one duels. He had challenged people to one-on-one duels, and he'd won 60 times. And towards the end of his life, he wrote a treatise on general combat, life philosophies, and just so on and so forth. And I found that just to be fascinating. And what I found with Musashi is there's good philosophies there on how you needed to approach your life, but also some very frank advice. If you're going into hand-to-hand combat, be prepared to lose your sight. That's something. So you need to do some sightless training of some form of combat, because it's that easy to lose your sight in hand-to-hand combat. So and he was a samurai. One of the ways that he always won was he would challenge somebody to a one-on-one duel, and he would say, all right, we'll meet under this tree at like 2 p.m. And he'd sit there, his opponent would sit there and just would wait, and he wouldn't be there. And then 5 o'clock would roll around, and he would approach from the west, always from the west. So his opponent sat there for hours, burned all of his piss and vinegar out of him, got to the point where he thought he's not even going to fucking show, got used to the idea that he's not even going to have to fight that day. And then Musashi shows up. And Musashi would always approach from the west with the sun at his back. So the person that he was dueling had the sun in his eyes. So Musashi was one of those guys that made sure that sounds like cheating. Sun is going down. It's smart. Well, I mean, here's the thing, because I also train in mixed martial arts. Nobody talks about who followed the rules the best. Everybody just talks about who won in the end. And Musashi won in the end. I agree. Clone Wars is awesome. But so yeah, Musashi, these were ways that he would win in combat. The way that he did it is he set the terms of when and where the fight would be fought. So he had an immediate advantage. And so that was one of the basic lessons. And so the 5 rings are just 5 different conduits of knowledge, if you will, because it was like wind, fire, water, earth. Like I forget what the 5th. I think the 5th one was spirit or void. Actually, now that I think of it, I believe yes, it was void. And it was just really good. And he talked about how the farmer approaches his life in what could be considered a warrior way, how the carpenter approaches their life in what could be considered a warrior way. A mother approaches her life in a way that could be considered a warrior way. Really good book. And so I want to get the best translation. Were you guys giving guys the old oil check at the state wrestling? Waka waka. No, I just did mixed martial arts. I was a typical Muay Thai jiu-jitsu. Like wrestling was one of those, like, if you want to take it to the ground, I'll let you, and I'll just crank a hold when I get down there. And otherwise I'll stand. And so that had its ups and downs. But yeah, when it comes to how you translate that into combat, so there was a lot of things that I took very much to heart when I started training in that, because it's just great advice. And so that's one I'm going to be definitely doing a book reading on, the Book of Five Rings, 1984. And like somebody recommended, how about Fahrenheit 451? I think I'm definitely going to have to look into that now, because I've heard nothing but good things, but that's just one of those books I never got around to reading. So I'm probably gonna have to do that because, like, I was just so thinking, like, what the hell am I gonna read? I was almost gonna start into the Dune series just because something to read, but now you got Fahrenheit 451. I might have to expedite that to the head of the table if you can. Oh, Phil confirmed. You know, the thing is, when you learn how easily the human body is deconstructed, you're like, I'm big macho machismo. A lot of that goes away. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's not very much to deconstruct the human body at all. And you realize that you're just as delicate. And so once you get to that point, it's like once you learn the intricacies of how to do so, it becomes, there's this very humbling moment for you. And so yeah, I don't do the kick your fucking ass, like, you know. It's like, if you ever watch the old classic kung fu movies, the older martial arts masters is just trying to get through their life without starting fights. Like, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. It's like, nah, that's not a thing. I kind of know my communist God damn it, that's too funny. Did a lot of reading in my youth, communist literature. Now the thing is, when it comes to like Marx, I've always said like his basic theory of value, it's as sound as you're going to find from any other general economist at the time. His labor theory of value, I've always found very arbitrary. It's just it seemed, if I'm just going to sum it up, it's like I don't like capital, and labor should get more because reasons. Like that seems to be the extent of the labor theory of value, to be honest. And yes, I have read into it, and Marx is one of those like, you know, no, kids, look up to somebody else, anybody else, really. Jesus. Excuse me. So a lot of reading in my youth. Yeah, you always got to do reading in your youth. Yeah, that's the thing. Marx didn't even Marx. What I find hilarious is he often, well, yeah, most of his writings, the majority of his writings were just asking people for money. If you were going to go through the majority of the things, words Marx wrote down, it was just writing people asking for money. And his mother even one time wrote in a letter, or maybe it was her diary, she said, I wish Carl would spend a little more time making capital and a little less time writing about capital. I was like, ouch, that's a fucking burn. And also, it's funny enough is, kind of sounds like, kind of, Lesto TV says, kind of sounds like the left in America now. Now it goes even more than that, because Karl Marx one time wrote about the unpaid worker. Somewhere out there in this economy, there is a worker that works for no pay at all and being completely exploited by the bourgeoisie owner class. Turns out this employee did exist. It was very close to Carl. In fact, she lived in his own house. He had a live-in maid that he paid no salary. She would cook the meals, balance his books because he was completely unable to. Basically took care of his life for him, cleaned the house, and yeah, she lived in the Mark's house and basically took care of Carl's life for him. And when she became pregnant, Carl kicked her out into the streets. Yeah. Now there was rumors that this child was Carl's. Now, you want to talk about exploitation of the working class? Sounds like Karl Marx was projecting, because he had a live-in, call it what you will, employee, slave, whatever you will, and then allegedly fucked her, got her pregnant, and then when he found out about it, kicked her out of the fucking streets. Is there a better example of exploitation of the working class? Do you got one? Like, I'm all fucking ears. Like, that one's fucking Jesus. Sounds like my cat without kicking my cat out in the street. Damn. But yeah, so that's one of those. If you got a better example of damn. Wow, this is all news to me. K.O.E is full of insight. Thank you, Granddad Christmas. But yeah, this is one of those. I find it fascinating that people follow him because he never practiced what he preached. So, but you know what? On that note, keep in mind, we've got the next book reading coming up, folks. Be sure to check out Big Buck and Empire on YouTube tomorrow. But, folks, as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you, folks, for being here tonight. You're absolutely right, Alesto TV. All of you beautiful people. Alesto TV, Grandpa Christmas, Wahoo Sam, all of you beautiful people, all of the folks here at the K.O.E Nation. God bless every last one of you folks. I hope to find you back here happy, healthy, much the wiser, folks. God bless from Nebraska to you folks. Like, share, subscribe, K.O.E Nation. Follow me, K.O.E Nation, TikTok and Twitch. God bless, folks. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us.